So today we're going to be looking at the ice pick attack. And instead of me just coming up and going like this and telegraphing, which gives him a lot of move or a lot of time to defend against this, whichever you would want to do. A lot of times what will happen to make it a little bit more realistic, something that you might find in the street or in a prison, something like that, is you're going to get a push to initiate the attack. But something to consider is like, I wouldn't necessarily grab here and start doing this because he's going to be playing around and there's a good chance I might just stab my own arm. So that's usually not what people do, right? But the push is perfectly designed for that, to get him off balance, create this opening. So let's just practice the push and see what his body does naturally. So as I come in here, right? See, so keep that shape. This is what happens, right? And so this chest kind of goes back, opening this up here. This arm will naturally kind of come in here, naturally, but I can get through it. So this is a good thing to practice, is just practicing the attack. So learning how it feels to get attacked in this way, and then also learning how to apply the attack so that you're familiar with it on both ends, right? So start with that idea of learning how to initiate a really good attack and understanding why that attack is done in such a way. Then you can kind of reverse engineer and figure out how to best defend against it if you know what makes it work, right? So one is to get him off balance, and you can immediately retract your hand, just coming in here, and I'm just coming in, hey, what's going on? That push doesn't have to be really hard, right? Because my goal is not to push him over. My goal is just to get him off balance enough and be a distraction for the main attack, which is coming next, right? So I just use this as a feeler, right? And like you said, it gives me a sensation of where you're at. Boom. If I push too hard, that's to my disadvantage because he's going to get too far away from me. I can't attack if I push him too hard. If he falls over, I mean, yeah, there's an advantage, but not for this attack. There's no advantage, right? So next phase of understanding would be, what would be your natural reaction if you get caught off guard like that? You notice that your hands normally just come up because you're being thrown back, right? So the hands already kind of come up to block. But then it's just seeing if that even works. Is that effective in any way, right? So right? So to a certain degree, it works a little bit. Let's get this one here so it's nice and visible. Now we're going to pressure test that to see if this hand block actually does anything. Or if it is sufficient to do the job, right? To block this attack. So how do you feel about that?
Overpowered, crumbling, and cut.
Yeah? I felt like it did something. It's not like don't put your hands up. It was a lot better than that.
When I come in and do this, he'll get the first one, and then his arm slides right down to my shoulder, right on my shoulder, and it's actually a leverage point. I'm actually able to even strike harder. So let's go at speed. Happens every time. It eventually slides right down my arm, right into my clavicle, and I'm just stabbing. Same kind of thing on his side.
As soon as he realizes that's not going to work anymore, he just went around it. And then he got this one, and then I put this one up, and then he just changed to something else again. And so he's constantly changing angles, directions. I'm behind the ball on all of them, basically.
The warrior's compass, we talk about the virtue of curiosity. How do you think curiosity is a key component to what we're doing right now?
Well, now I'm curious and I want to survive, so this becomes playtime, right? We get to play, and I might have to, as I put up that first one, as he pushes, and I get the first one, he's going to change. Now I'm curious. How do I prevent that? So that whole piece of curiosity. So as he was doing that, I have to change something else. And this is curiosity, right? We don't know the answer. There isn't an answer yet. So we're curious enough to want to figure it out. So then we start to slow it down a little bit and we start to play.
But learning what doesn't work is part of the curiosity. How is that valuable?
Well, absolutely. I'm dead. So, and I don't want to be dead anymore. So I'm losing, right? So I went like this first. I'm like, okay, that kind of worked. He comes around and I'm like, oh, that didn't work. Why didn't that work for me? And what can I do to change it? So that's that, you know, I'm failing repeatedly, and so now I have to change and adjust and monitor and all that to try to figure out how to survive this.
Right. I'd like to talk about how you also have skin in the game, right? Because you're attacking somebody, you don't know what he can potentially do back to you. Mm-hmm. Right now, it's a drill, so he's not really doing anything other than just exploring and seeing, you know, what a natural, you know, once you get pushed, what is your natural, you know, inclination? What shape does your body take? And we've, you know, go back to that real quick. Just show when you get pushed hard, this is kind of a natural thing. And you have something coming at your face, the hands naturally just come up to block, right? And so the first thing that we're trying to discover is that effective? And will that work, right? And so we're discovering that it works a little bit, but the odds are probably not well enough to want to rely on that, correct? Any other observations so far?
I wholeheartedly agree.
It hasn't worked well for me yet.
Yeah. Cool.
Me
All right.
neither.
So right now what we're going to do is develop this ability to learn how to receive impact. In Japanese, that's called shugeki kemi, receiving impact. So let's talk about what's not ideal, right? So when he pushes me, boom, my hands come up and I'm off balance, I'm on my heels. So that doesn't give me any type of tactical advantage when I'm off balance like that and creating openings. Not only am I open here, I'm also open down low for other types of attacks, for groin kicks and leg strikes and all that kind of stuff. I become open. We realize that this doesn't really, it's better than nothing, but it's not going to defend accurately or sufficiently enough against that type of an ice pick attack. So we're going to practice learning how to get our base. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's practice that. Just learning how to, and let's talk a little bit about the footwork. So in this particular case, as he's pushing me, I'm going to get grounded and step back with my left foot. I'm not going to talk about the hands at the moment. I just want to talk about kind of the body move, right? As I get pushed back, I'm going to step back here and lean forward a little, tilt forward a little bit, because what I want to do, this is a little bit more advanced, but it's the idea of kyojutsu, or this idea of intermingling truth with falsehood. So his target that he's looking for is right here. And what I want to do is make him feel like the target is still in place. Okay. Right, and as this, go ahead right there. Okay, so as that goes back, as this is happening, I'm going to be doing this, right? So I'm going to appear like I'm here, right? And so I'm keeping my head and shoulders in space, but I'm removing the target. This is going to happen really fast, right? So go ahead and do it, you know, like full speed, just one cut. Okay? That's what we're going to do next, right? So we'll go ahead and push and cut at full speed. Okay? So let's try that. So what we're going to talk about now is the shape of my body, my head and my shoulders is kind of what he tracks as I'm moving. So when I get pushed, what I want to do is use this type of a movement. So I instead of getting pushed backwards, I'm going to, and then this takes a lot of training, right? So right now we're doing it really soft, and then you got to increase it so that he's going to be pushing harder and harder. But for now, to demonstrate and to teach this, it'll be a lot easier if we go slow, so we can kind of point things out so you can see it, and then we'll ramp it up as we go along. sees my shoulders, my head, he knows that I'm in range to get attacked, right? And that's what I want. I want him to feel like he's winning. Because like I mentioned earlier, this is all about kyojutsu, or this, you know, changing up of truth and falsehood. And so I took my distance and I gave him a little bit of resistance.
Based on the level of resistance I get from him, determines how much I need to commit forward or not. Like that last one, when you gave me enough resistance, I could, okay, he's not going far. And then the ones prior to that, there was hardly any resistance, so I had to take larger steps, because I know you're going to go further back, I got to come after you. So subconsciously, I'm thinking, okay, he's not going far, or he is going far.
Let's talk about distancing. Distancing is when proper distance is where I'm just out of reach of his attack, but I'm in reach of him. So let's look at that as an example, right? So go ahead and push me, we'll go slow motion. I give him a little bit of resistance, and I fall, but I'm falling a little bit further than he thinks I am. So I'm just outside of range, and I can use this motion, keeping this in place. And this all happens really fast, but in slow motion, it makes it feel a lot harder than it is. Right? But then we're just gonna hollow out our chest right here. Okay? Just out. And so he's out of range, right? But I can test my distance. Can I reach him, right? I should be able to, you know, touch his eyes and his shoulders, and that means I'm in a position where I can actually do something, right? So let's just do one full speed, just a single attack for now. Look what happened. He actually stabbed his own leg because he was expecting that to make penetration, and when it didn't, it flew all the way down and hit him in the own leg. So pretty cool. So this is not something that's easy to learn, and it takes quite a bit of practice. And so let's just practice that first part, right? Receiving impact without the knife. We're just gonna practice that. So here. So I like to close my eyes so you don't know when it's coming. And he's not gonna do the knife. He's just gonna do that single push. And we're gonna practice just falling into this position. Okay, so practice that, and then we'll come back and finish the rest. We're gonna reverse roles. I'm gonna be the attacker. Steve's gonna be doing the technique now that he knows what he's doing, so that I can talk a little bit about things from this perspective and how I perceive things. Right? So I'm coming in. I'm not being aggressive. I'm the opposite. Right? Attackers use kyojutsu all the time. Going and even putting my hand up as a gesture. That's a gesture of goodwill, right? Right? When I put my hand up, you feel threatened. But it sets me up for this push. Right? So think about that. Think, hey, how's it going? Right? So now, I felt some resistance there, so I knew you weren't going to go very far. Right? So now, after you take that, then you got to do this hollow out one. That's going to make the difference. See the difference? It's just, all it takes is a half an inch, right? It's like literally centimeters of distance between successive belly numbers. Right, so we've got to learn how to do this. Because really, this is the target right over here. So without moving your head and shoulders, can you take that target away from you? That's what you're trying to do, right? When you add your footwork, it becomes a lot easier. Hey, what's up? Feel the difference there?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Okay. So what I missed, right? I naturally, I'm going to come back up, but I'm still, this is my thought process. This is what I'm doing, right? So I just want you to do phase one, right? Don't use your hands yet, just evade number one. And then I'll show you what the follow-up is on my end. Right? Hey, what's up? Once I miss the first one, I'm going to probably start to come in and get the second, potentially third one will start to connect. I might miss the second one, but by the third time, I should be back in the game. Does that make sense? So this is, once you can actually master getting out of the way of one, you know, it's too hard to kind of like, you gotta kind of break it down in steps. So phase one with this part of the drill is just the one attack, right? And boom, if you can do that successfully, right? Multiple times, and you kind of paid your dues, you've done your drills, then we're gonna go into, then I'm gonna continue to do at least 3 steps, right? And see what happens. Hey, what's up? Okay, so on that one, it looks like I did 4 because I wasn't satisfied because I missed 1 and 2. I got 3 and then 4. So once again, as the attacker, you want to try and practice your sense of kyojutsu, right? So I want to learn how to apply kyojutsu because this is, you know, when we get by a bad guy or a good guy, it doesn't really matter. I'm still practicing and honing that skill set, right? Of deception, right? So he's practicing kyojutsu, but I'm practicing it just as much with my attack, right? So I gotta come up here and make him feel like he doesn't feel threatened. Hey, how's it going? By putting my hand up, like we talked about earlier, that gives me the advantage to do my next attack. But I want to do it in such a way that he doesn't feel threatened by it. Does that make sense? Hey, how's it going? Well, that was pretty good. I felt this straight line. So there was touch, but I don't think if it was a knife, it may have like cut, but it wasn't penetrating and doing a killing blow. Right, let's try one more time. Hey, how's it going? Same thing. I'm making contact, but I'm not getting any penetrating blows here. So, as I'm observing what he's doing, what is missing is he's not taking that target away enough. And so if you could use your arms now into this equation by raising them up a little bit, that will kind of hollow out your shoulders a little bit more. You're not trying to put your shoulders forward though. You're trying to keep your shoulders where they are. That's a common mistake, right? You see that and you're like, oh, I put my shoulders forward. No, you keep your shoulders where you are and you move backwards. But in the process of doing that, your hands kind of come up a little bit and that will help you create the proper shape. And once again, we're not finished with this drill. There's other steps to go and it'll start to change, and as it changes, it actually becomes easier, right? So we're isolating, and this will all become easier and easier as we go. The hardest part is just getting started on this path, understanding this, understanding how to, you know, trigger our nervous system so that we react in a more positive way when we get pushed. Okay? So same thing, just see if you can, right? And play around with that resistance. And, hey, whoa! Did you feel the difference there? You gave me more resistance, and I felt that. That was, you know, like I didn't even have to think about it. I felt it right away. So that was kind of what we were talking about earlier. I knew that, oh, he's not moving as far, right? So I didn't have to go as deep. Right, and so you know, I was like, oh, he's not moving. So my attack didn't go as deep because of the resistance that I felt. Oh yeah, big difference right there. That was like on the money. Hey, how's it going? So after I do 2 or 3 misses, I'm immediately going to realize that this isn't working. And then it's a slight adjustment for me to come in and get it, right? But it might take 2 or 3 strikes depending on how kind of fast I'm going and how much, right? Hey, let's go. Okay, on that one, I'm getting better as an attacker, so I missed the first one. On the second one, I was back in already. On my first few attacks, I missed the first 2, and then I was in on the third one. So that's what I want. Now it's a lot of discovery on my end, but that also helps me understand how to be a better attacker, which is going to help me understand how to defend these type of attacks because I understand it more fully, right? So understanding the attack will allow me to learn how to defend it even that much more. Okay, pretty much second one, right? Okay, so how do we avoid that second strike? Any thoughts? What are we gonna do? Back to the level of curiosity. We're here. There's not much I can do other than small movements, right? So what small movement can I do that will prevent me from getting struck on number 2? This is the question of the day. So let's take it back here, stop it. Right? So I'm here. Now all it takes is him to come in again, boom, and I'm hit on that second one, right? And how fast does he come in with that second one? Is it fast?
Yes.
So if we know that it's fast, we also know that there's not a lot I can do, right? So any thoughts on what we could do?
Well, you know there's a retraction. 1, 2, so I'd imagine some kind of manipulation on the retraction.
You're getting in the right place. Why don't you guys play around with that and just explore? I'm not going to give the answer yet. I want you to just use curiosity and see what you can discover on your own.
Yeah, I see you're out of range. That's not.
Well, yeah. So what's important, is I'll do the attack. Right? So what this attack is not, it's not,
Yeah.
right? It's going back to the basic, right? That's the attack. So let's not change the attack. Just keep the attack focused. Right? So I'm here. Hey, see, how's it going?
You're actually in range for something like that. If I'm, just trying to get out of the way, that's actually doable.
Yeah. And remember, you don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the solution, because we've got the curiosity juices going, right? And this is part of the learning process, right? The more curious we get, the more when we discover the truth, it resonates more and helps us understand it more, and it sinks in better, right? Right, so let's break it down nice and slow. Okay. So as this comes in, I'm just out of range here. Now what I have to do is just take this, all I do is take this hand to here and lean forward. So keep coming. And then it takes him off balance, and then at this point he's got to change. So as he changes, that's when I flow into this shoulder. So as I'm coming in, I'm hitting you. Don't move yet. Yeah. Boom. And you're already moving, right? So this is happening. Right? So, boom, that's going to drive me over here now. Now, what I've got to do is I got to come back up here
Come in here.
to get you there, because that's my objective, right? Right? Here. Then I'm over here. Right?
So that's
So,
where
yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that. Okay. Breaking it down. So, if I come in, I missed you on the first one, right? All you have to do from here is just keep this here, right? And as I come up for the second one, see how that just bumps me over here. Then I'm gonna double. What am I gonna do? As I'm gonna come over here. And now because of, as I do this, I bring this shoulder to you, right? No, go back. Do it again. Sorry. Do it again. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll take it slow, and then we'll go a little bit faster, right? Then I come to here. This is the end of this drill, right? Just getting to this safe point here.
Yeah.
So as soon as we come over here and you get pushed over there, right?
So even if it's here, I'm still gonna miss.
Right. I'm looking for that shoulder, right? So get here, you reposition yourself, I immediately go to the shoulder. Because when it goes back there, I can't reach that anymore, but I can reach this. So this is the important point to look for, is once you lose control of this side, which I'm controlling over here, and I just go back to phase 1 again. Right? So just here, this gives me safe, but I know that he's gonna start to give me this shoulder. So I'm just looking for that. Anything you can try and get down below here, and the shoulder is gonna come in here. And if you cut, so once I have the shoulder, right, I can control the space and I'm getting to a better position. There's, tons of techniques that we can do from here without thinking, but we don't want to get into that. Boom, control this. So, one last time, we'll do it on, everybody's going to run through and we'll just kind of check it out here. And then we'll just stop right here. See how I'm keeping this arm out of the way, and I'm taking the shoulder over here. First, can you come on the back side? Come around over here. Yeah, maybe take the video from this side this time. And we'll kind of go slow a little bit. Resistance. Come over here. Boom, boom. As soon as he changes, then I'm immediately going over to here. And I'm kind of coming in like this, same thing, right? So wherever he goes from here, boom, I can keep out of the danger zone. Or while I'm there, I can take advantage and do a finisher, but that'll be for another time. Good? You guys want to do it together? And press it back over here. Times, give them a chance to get warmed up, and then switch. Yeah, one more time, and as you come up here, just make a firm kind of. All you do is you're creating a deflection, right? So it needs to kind of be firm. So the closed hand, if you close your fist, it'll give it a little bit more structure. So the simple change, I think, will help it work a little bit better.
That wasn't it.
Yeah. Right there.
So, one thing to look at. So, coming in here, I need to be leaning in.
Also, see where this is? Because I got to get at least up here where I was, so that's where I'm gonna come.
Right. And so this needs to be leaning in. I can't just be, right? So as opposed to, I do the first part right, and if I'm just here, right? It's a simple change. It's a simple tilting forward, right? So the slow motion, you can see that? Leaning in like this, right? That's when he's gonna give me this shoulder over here, right? Nice.
There you go.
As you can see, there's all those opportunities that you have right there for doing other types of techniques. Just play around with that a little bit. talk about some cool stuff that happened right there. We'll take it from the top and a little pause it a second. Well, I'm giving him a lot of pressure, and then when I feel him come in, I just let him go, and then see how then I've got this opportunity here. There's all these openings right now. I've got the back, right? If I decide to wait, well, you can come in, but just playing with that pressure. You put a lot of pressure, and then when you just let go of it, and it goes right by you, and then it creates another opening. So what you're trying to do is go from controlling this side, boom, and then you're over here, and you've got this here to, so say go all the way through, boom. This is my opening now. Now I can come in and attack at any point. Okay, so let's finish up with one more just like that so we can kind of see how that works. Just waiting for that opening when you give me something good and juicy, right? So don't try and go through the technique too quickly. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
All right. Just end with that.